Go ahead.
So, yeah, it's 1 minute to 11 on my clock, so I'm a bit surprised. Maybe that's why I'm late for all the talks. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm totally happy to see so many people here, more than I expected. Thought it would be a rather small round. Cool. So, yeah, we've written up some preliminary agenda yesterday, which is in Debian on the screen. First of all, we might want to make a short, quick introduction around. There are faces here I don't know. Also for the people following around at home, it might be nice to be able to connect the faces to the names. So those of you who feel like saying their name out to the world, please do so now. I'm Gregor, and I'm a member of the Perl group since a couple of years.
I'm Harlan. I just joined about a year ago.
I'm David Bremner. I forget when I joined the program. It was some time ago.
I'm Nicotini, and I joined something like 208, and I'm maintaining Perl as well.
Dominic Hargreaves, I'm also helping maintain Perl. I've been around for a little while.
Hi, I'm Sia, and I just joined the Perl group like a few weeks ago.
I'm Mika, and joined the Perl group a few weeks ago.
Russ Alberry. I have been a member of the Perl group, but mostly don't do anything. But I occasionally upload a package, and I've been doing a very poor job of being upstream for the pod generation tools. You don't have to introduce, people don't have to introduce themselves if they don't want to.
Oh. My name is Josh Enders, and I'm a Perl user.
Oh, right. Okay, it's me. Colin Watson. I maintain a couple of Perl modules, not actually in the Perl group, but nah.
I'm Noah Meyerhands. I'm not an active member of the Debian Perl group, but I'm here to try to maybe bootstrap some activity into it and get more familiar with what's happening and how I can help.
I'm Yishuan, and I'm not a member of the group, but I'm really interested, and currently I maintain one Perl-related package.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I was active in the Perl group a while ago, and I'm interested in getting back into it.
I'm Alex. I'm actually not in the Perl group, but I do maintain several Perl modules and a lot of more Perl code.
I'm Bill McAllister. I'm a Perl user.
We managed to move the microphone right around the node.
I'm Intrigeri. I'm part of the Perl team for a while and focusing on the GTK, glib, and things like that modules.
I'm Pincho, and I have been not part of the Perl group for a while, but still looking around.
I'm Martin, Perl 6 contributor, new to the Debian group.
And then we have someone in the back.
So I'm Manoj. I have apparently been a member of the Perl group for years, but only a couple of months ago I got 3 packages in, so I'm newly active.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. So what we've seen now is that the Perl group has quite a few members. I mean, the Perl package Perl project on Elias. I haven't looked it up recently, but I think it's something like 200 people. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to look at the first item, which probably was taking a quick look at the team itself. So I'd like to open the floor for people to give their impressions, their feelings, how the group as a group is doing, how the situation with members is, do we have enough or not, is there something we could improve in this regard, communication, cooperation, things like this. And I have a few statistics, which are just some numbers afterwards. But I'd first like to open up the floor to others.
Well, for my part, I think the group is doing okay. There might be a bit less people than we used to have. I'm not quite sure, actually. And I have had the feeling for some years now that the sheer amount of packages is sort of... Well, there are bugs that don't get any attention from us, I think. Sort of normal or minor bugs or something like that, when they are not the easy ones. I know we've been forwarding them maybe better than we used to, but well, there's lots of data upstreams and things like that too. But yeah, not bad anyway. Quite good actually. For a couple of thousand packages or whatever we have. Yeah, 3. Yeah, well.
Is it just me, or has the number of packages grown much faster than the number of team members? Yeah, it's not just me. Okay. So essentially the same concern. I mean, I'm not in a position to criticize because I'm not active. So.
Anyone else?
Just was going to say that I remember in 2008, the title of my talk about PET was 666 packages.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably a tiny number by now.
Yeah. I mean, from my point of view, I also had this impression that you mentioned, Nico, that we've lost a bit momentum and maybe lost some contributors, mostly during the 2012-2013 year with the long freeze. So what I did the other day was to try to look at some numbers, if this expression can be backed up by numbers. So I looked at the Git commits, Git short log, which David told me to use, and counted the number of contributors of people making a commit in the last 3 years. And the result is that the numbers don't support my impression. So the 3 years are from September 1st to August 31st. And the number of people making at least one commit to one of our 3,000 repositories, Debian directories, is not changing a lot, from 83 to 71. The last year was a bit lower, and now it's 84 again. And then I've counted totally manually the amount of people with more than 10 commits and with more than 100 commits, and these numbers are actually quite stable. I might also have missed a day in between or something. I'm not sure if this since and until is inclusive or exclusive, but just to give a rough idea about the numbers.
Gregor?
Yes?
Do you have statistics for uploaders?
No.
I was asking Gregor if he had statistics for the number of active uploaders, which is always a bit of a worry of mine. But I know there's maybe 3 or 2 active uploaders. 1? There are more. Okay. So maybe I worry too much.
Yeah. So the question remains: is there something we need to do in attracting new contributors, in maintaining existing contributors?
I would like to say that as I guess my main involvement is as an occasional downstream from you, because I often find myself dealing with with Perl version transitions in Ubuntu in response to corresponding things in Debian. So we've recently just pulled in 520, and my impression from that side of things, as somebody who deals with this from downstream of various Debian teams, is that the Perl team is one of the best organized. The transitions are generally excellently well prepared. There are a small number of things to clean up, but there always are. That's fine. I think from that point of view, the question is whether you folks can cope and just avoiding burnout. But as far as whether you're doing a good enough job, I think you're doing an excellent job. So please keep it up.
Well, so
regarding attracting new contributors and maybe more diverse contributors, there's this low-hanging fruit sessions that we've had this year, and we'll talk about it a bit later today, so I refrain from elaborating on it right now.
So I would like to put in my contribution as a new project member and what I found as barriers to entry. And it was hard for me, though it shouldn't have been in retrospect, to find the best practices for doing packages by the Perl group, which would be distinct from what I would have done on my own. It was not clear to me how I could get a package which was already maintained in Debian into the Perl group. I have been invited several times to hand it over, but I wasn't sure how you could help the process and become a active group member at the same time. Maybe it's a matter of educating the people who are outside the group about how easy it is to get in and what it is that they have to do in order to follow the standards of the group practices. Giving a talk at DebConf is probably a great way to start.
I guess it could be a short document if you know how to use IRC. So if you show up on Debian Perl, everything else follows, I think, to become an active member of the team. I mean, so I am not discounting that we do have some documents, right? But maybe they need to be more publicized or something. But I wanted to point out for anybody who's thinking about joining the team that what we're talking about here is a communication issue and not actually being difficult to join the team. So just show up and people will walk you through. Actually, that's maybe one of the few ways I'm still active in the team, is giving people some hints on how to get started when they show up on IRC.
Okay, so guess we jump to the next topic. Yeah. Right. So I guess many of you have heard about this project from Enrico called Contributors, which is about to collect in one central place all contributions from everyone who contributes something to Debian. It is a commit, an upload, an edit in the wiki, a translation, whatever. And we as the Perl group currently don't add our tag to these contributions. We don't have a separate sub-project there, so Tincho knows a bit about it and might give us a status update.
I was trying to find the Gobi link to put it there, but well, if you haven't seen it, it's a pretty cool project that Enrico started last year. I was a bit involved in the idea before, but basically, yeah, the idea is to get sources information from different places and said, okay, this person has been doing something for some team or something, and that's a way of saying who has helped Debian in any way. It's a way to recognize people, and I think it's pretty cool. So I just got signed up by Enrico, and didn't have much of a choice, to maintain the Git source, which is basically still not there. So that will, and I will also do a special source for the pkg-perl group. So that's why I arranged with Enrico yesterday. So I just need to get down and do it. But basically what you will have in a few days is that every time you make a commit, you will appear as a contributor up to that date. Under the Git and then the pkg-perl sources. I think that's everything I can say. There's not much more.
Okay, looks like that's taken care of already. Thank you. The URL for the whole thing is contributors.debian.org if you want to look around there. Yes. Okay, so the next one is a more technical one. Auto package test, step 8, Debian enhancement proposal 8. The idea to have the binary build packages tested, also integrated into the ci.debian.net, I guess, continuous integration. We're not doing this right now, and Nico and Dominic wanted to say something about it.
Yeah, well, I mainly wanted to keep it on the agenda. We discussed it briefly last year in Womaku, and I think we had a thread about it last winter, or maybe November or something like that, and came up with a few technical, maybe solution might be a bit strong for a word, but anyway, as I see it, it should be mostly trivial to get most of the pkg-perl modules packages to just declare that their own test suite can be used as an auto pkg test suite as well. But there probably are some exceptions where you need to write to the T directory and stuff like that, but most of it should be straightforward. So I guess we maybe just should revisit that, and maybe have a hacking session or something while we're here. I don't know if we'll find the time. No, I'm not sure. Does anybody know how complete the ci.debian.net test? How often does it run the tests and stuff like that? What's the status currently?
Antonio is not here. Antonio, I think Antonio arrives tomorrow, so you should probably ask him tomorrow. Right. But it apparently runs regularly for now, and for my own packages there are many logs already. So yeah, and I think the goal was to always run when a dependency package changes, and it appears to do that. So I think it's usable right now.
Yeah, that's the main thing when the reverse dependencies change, then check the runtime tests. Yeah. No more on this topic, I think.
Yeah, I guess sitting together and hacking on it would be nice. Does someone want to take the ownership of this action item? As in pushing and reminding others. Oh, it's a nice screensaver. I know.
I can take ownership for the duration of DebConf, but then I probably forget about it. So.
Good enough.
Okay, because I want to learn about auto package test, so this is a good opportunity. So.
Great, thanks. Yeah. The next thing is more short information. Also started last year in the same buff, the idea of integrating upstream Git repositories into our packaging. Git repositories, which Git build package supports by adding the table on top of the upstream tag, if I remember it correctly. To make this easier, there are now some free scripts in the pkg-perl tools package. Well, or in the Git repo of the package. The last version is not uploaded yet, so you can then just type dpt Debian perl tools import org, which will use uscan and create the remote and should do everything that's needed. What's still missing is integration into our fancy mr config, so that the remote is added when you clone a repository, fetch it, update it. And I think it also needs to go into dpt checkout, which is the subcommand of dpt to, just check the repository without caring about URLs. So I think that should also, or might also be a task for our hacking time, which we have in abundance. I've worked with David on it and talked about it with Intri, and I think I can take the responsibility to remind you guys to sit down with me. Yeah, that too. Okay, so that's it from me for this point. All right, one of the recurring topics for discussion, which we have each year. Well, first, for many years we had, should we switch from Subversion to Git, but since we have switched to Git 3 years ago, the next recurring topic is how do we manage our patches.
Yeah, just wanted to keep this one on the agenda too, because I just hate committing patches to Git. And editing the patches there and forgetting to do quilt pass after checking out the repository and then building. I know dpkg build packages will apply them for me, but sometimes I do it the old way. But anyway, there's talk of these things in the project elsewhere too at the moment. I think the Python group is looking at alternatives, and there's a thread at the Debian dev list as well, I think. It looks like there's broader interests in this. For what it's worth, we've been using Git DPM for patch management in the Perl package for a couple of years at least, maybe more, and it's working great. The idea is that the patches are, it creates a temporary branch from the patches, and then you edit those with the normal Git tools, and then you transform them back to patches. It's fine. Then there's Git build package and the patch queue thing, and I think there's a third one, debcherry, whatever. I think, yeah.
One of my apparently increasing number of tasks for debconf is to actually upload debcherry. So my one user is sitting across the room, and he seems happy. So I 100% approve already.
Can you say in 2 sentences what debcherry is?
So the idea of debcherry is to treat, I guess, the Debian branch as an integration branch, where your packaging commits are just part of the Git history, and then extract those as patches at package build time. So Well, there's all kinds of trade-offs. This is one trade-off, which is that it's the most natural way of working with. If you came to Debian from Git rather than the other way around, this is somehow the most natural way of working. Manoj wants to advocate my software more strongly than I do, I think.
This was a very bad explanation. That's probably because he wrote the software. If you are an end user and you are using Git to develop, you create your upstream branch, either the upstream's branch or what you import in using the tarbalt. Any patches that you carry, you create your own feature branch and you work with it. Then you create the master branch by default, which has your /Debian in it. And this is where you merge in all your feature branches to have a see whether it builds, and you test it. You never worry about /Debian/patches because DebCherry comes in and it will take care of all that for you. You just say, go ahead, build my package. While it is being checked out and built, /Debian/patches is created. You never have to worry about pushing the quilt stuff. You never have to worry about editing patches. You work with feature branches and you work your Perl package just as if you were just using pure Git for development. I've got a paper out there which I will share to the Debian Devil mailing list after I get back home, where I compared Git DPM and DebCherry, and the history and bisectability increases by an order of magnitude if you're using DebCherry, because there are no fake ephemeral branches to get in your way of bisecting what you did. There's nothing to get in your way of being able to send features back upstream because it is a feature branch by itself. I really think it shaves off about 30% of the time that I used to spend packaging things.
This software sounds amazing and I must try it.
Okay. So I guess we won't take a decision right now in this minute. And I mean, we have a tradition of taking some years until everyone is happy. But how do we proceed from here? That's probably the question.
If you want to look at programming by example, look for 3 packages that have my name in them as uploader, and they have been using Git DebCherry for this.
So I guess that kind of brings us on to the question about how uniform do we need to be within the team in terms of packaging consistency. Because there's one sense in which it would be nice to be able to demonstrate within the group different approaches, but on the other hand, the whole point of having a group is that we have some level of uniformity. So I don't know what the solution to that is. Maybe we should have a kind of a list of experiments that are ongoing or demonstrations that are ongoing that we can refer to, and then we know to treat those packages with care. I don't know.
We already do this for the packaging helper, which shall not be named. So I think we could probably adopt some convention that this package is packaging experiment or something. And that's an implicit promise that the person doing the experiment will take care of that package and not expect other people to deal with it.
Yeah, and maybe list it on some of our wiki pages so that it's also visible without stumbling upon it.
Right. I don't know how formalized it needs to be. We can just document what some convention.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe it would also nice to have some IRC sessions. I guess my main concern when we switch techniques is we have to make sure that at least in theory, 200 people. But I mean, you've seen 80 people commit something in a year, so that all those people are taking along and are feeling comfortable. So that, yeah, need some training. And I like to learn something on IRC when someone teaches me there. So maybe that's also a way to go to do a demo, to try out something.
So a comment from IRC, DAM suggests maybe using readme.source to document any crazy experiments.
Yeah.
Does that seem reasonable to everyone?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so well, we made some decision, I guess.
Progress.
Yeah.
Woo!
I know. Don't tell the technical committee.
I volunteer the first 3 packages that demonstrate DebCherry. I'll write up a readme.source to say what I've done. And really, if you're using DebCherry, there isn't really much you are actually putting into Git. I mean, the whole point is that you don't do anything and let DebCherry handle it.
Thank you. Excellent.
Okay. And can you send a message and let the Perl group know on the mailing list here? Cool. Good. Nico, do you want to do the same with mod Perl? Oops.
Yeah, I guess I should look at using git dpm for 1 or 2 pkg-perl packages. For some reason, mod Perl does come into mind, but I'm not sure if that's the one to start with. Well, that's one of those which would benefit a bit from proper patch handling. Anyway,
it has all kinds of
there's
fancy branches already. So.
Dozen patches and a few branches. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So the next one is a short status update on the hardening side we've been working on in 3.
Yeah, so we've made good progress this year in ensuring that many or most of our architecture-dependent packages are built using the hardening build flags. I have no idea what's the current stats about it, but it's quite good. What I would love, and this is more like a call for help because I won't do it myself, is to be able, as a team, to track our progress in this respect, to know if we are doing better or worse than before, and to be able to easily identify action items, that is, what's left to do, possibly ordered by popularity or something. So one good basis for this could be case cook scripts that generate distro-wide statistics about it. The thing is, these scripts only basically look at each package and increment the counters and don't have any memory in the end to tell you which package was hardened and or was not. So this should be a simple matter of Python programming for anyone interested. Should be a quite easy task, and it's been documented in great details and the Tails bug tracker, what's needed to do and some leads on how to do it. So if someone took this task, then it could be very useful for any Debian packaging team or maintainers who would like to make progress on this, and it would be useful for Tails too, and possibly for other Debian derivatives. If you're interested, talk to me.
I think there's a Linton check or 2 that track those hardening flags applied or in effect. So it might be enough to just count those over time, but it's not very elegant anyway. I'd just like to point out that with the 5.20 Perl transition, there's in the current seed version of the package, there's a bug that affects. It looks like there's 3 packages that have lost the hardening flags, and it would be nice, very nice, to have a system that would point them out quickly. In this case, it was mostly by luck that Gregor or Damian noticed it with the pkg-perl package. Yeah.
Okay. Just one sentence. In my experience, the Lindsay check for hardening is not totally accurate, or at least it doesn't totally agree with what BLHC, build-log hardening check, does. Russ is nodding so.
Yeah. There still seem to be a lot of false positives where it thinks that you're not built with hardening when you in fact are. And I think that a lot of that is that it's really difficult to detect whether you have hardening turned on for some of the string functions. There's just a lot of code patterns that will generate non-hardened calls without any hardened calls in the same binary, and then Lintian can't figure out that you have hardening flags turned on. So that affects multiple of my packages, and I've manually double-checked the compiler flags on every single object file, and I'm quite certain that they're built with hardening flags.
Okay.
There's also another source. There's the build-log checks. There's something that's scanning them at the moment. I think there's a link somewhere to build-log checks where there's errors, the other errors as well, and I think it notices when the hardening flags are missing as well. So that might be another approach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if someone is into writing Python code, talk to Intri. Excellent. We have something like 9 or 8 minutes left, but we are getting closer to the bottom of the list. So, low-hanging fruit sessions. That's all.
So last year it was proposed to have monthly low-hanging fruit session. That is, we meet on IRC on a date scheduled in advance, and we spend a few hours together working on low-hanging fruits. That is, things that we can do a lot of and clean up our plate and get a quiet feeling of working together and making progress on small repetitive tasks that are not always fun to do. And I think we've worked on forwarding patches last year, on hardening, on handling one transition, I think, too. And we've done, I think, 3 or 4 such sessions in total, and then it disappeared, mostly because of me stopping coordinating it. So my question would be, do we want to start it again? Do we want to change the format of it? And how do we make the organization lighter so that we don't stop again doing it because of the paperwork overhead? So if anyone who participated in it has any feedback, whether they would like to start it over or not, or possibly changing the format, that would be a good time to share these feelings and ideas.
Well, I like the meetings and I would like to get them going again.
Anyone else?
Comment from IRC, Damien says they're totally great.
So I was going to echo Dam's IRC comment, but I'll also throw in my own opinion, which I think this would be a really useful way to get new people involved in things. You know, the problems are self-contained and they're concrete. They're easy to wrap your head around and get something done. And so it would be really, I think it'd be really useful just to make this, make sure that these sessions are sort of well publicized, I guess, easy to find out about, and see who shows up.
Is it worth even publicizing them beyond the current project, the current group, to the project at large? as a way of getting more people involved in the project, given that we have possibly a difficulty getting new people in that actually then continue actively.
Okay, 5 minutes, so please be short.
I had a couple of other things I wanted to mention. I don't know if now is the time. Which one on your list?
For the low-hanging fruits, we should probably talk about, you should say one sentence about having a day per month, then I'll take a look.
Yeah, to make the organization lighter, my proposal would be that we choose a fixed date in the month and do it every month on the same date, and then we can refine the time details later. So we could pick the 17th or 23rd or whatever. We can do that later on over email, if that's fine with you.
Okay, so we have 2 issues left which are not really relevant. They're on the to-do, on the open task anyway. So Wookie, please use the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, so we had a couple of things came up at the Bootstrap sprint last week, one of which was the fact that it's very hard to cross-build Perl, which makes it hard to bootstrap new architectures because Perl's important and has to happen quite early on. And I just wondered if anybody... So Neil Williams did a load of work on this about a year ago, which made it... Basically, we hacked around the problems to some degree with a Debian Perl cross package, which just stores the results that you would get if you were able to run the things the way Perl expects you to on a foreign machine. But anyway, does anybody care about this problem and wants to help try and improve matters? Because Upstream seemed quite enthusiastic to have some improvements when Neil talked to them, but because he suddenly got a job, all this action just stopped, and I haven't seen. I don't suppose anything's changed in the intervening year or so. Anyway, we would like.
Would be a question for Nico.
I do know that the state of cross-compilation upstream is probably a bit better than this time last year, particularly because I think the Android port was done that way. So it's probably worth me or Nico looking at whether there's anything we should be integrating or doing.
Okay, so we think some of that stuff may have filtered through actually, and there has been some improvements. Okay, that would be good. So I mean, Helmut Gruner is running a thing called rebootstrap on Jenkins every day, trying to see what happens. So at the moment he gets about 40 packages in with a lot of hackery and bodgery, and one of the problems is Perl. So anyway, something to bear in mind. And the other thing is the last DebConf we talked about the embedded multi-arch embedded interpreter problem. I don't know how many people here understand that issue, but it turned out, yeah, exactly, none of us. But it turned out that the solution we came up with last year doesn't actually work because of the way dpackage operates. So it's still broken, and we don't really have a good solution yet. And I don't know if, because I know you sent plaintive mails going, well, I did this, is that good or bad? And everyone just went, no, silence. So I'm not exactly sure what it is we've ended up releasing and what level of breakage and multi-arch Perl crossness we have achieved, because I haven't really looked or tried.
For the 5.20 packages, I've made the Perl package itself multi-arch allowed, and Perl modules is now multi-arch foreign, and that's as far as I dared to go. And the long mails you mentioned have been sort of, well, it's not encouraging.
So yeah, I think
one more thing is that I did see Guillem mention on some mail of his that he's going to fix all the remaining multi-arch bugs before Jesse. I'm not sure if he was serious, but I suppose he's going to revisit these issues as well. I don't know.
Okay, we have 1 minute left. Okay.
I'm wondering, is any one of you using Carton, the bundler for Perl approach?
Carton?
Yeah, it's like you're developing some Perl project and depending on cpan stuff, but don't want to package it yet. So the idea is to just install it in your working directory, and if it's working, you're considering it, which is kind of useful for continuous integration stuff with developers having their own environment available before actually doing some packaging work, like depending on new versions. And I'm feeling like it's not really that common to use, so I'm wondering if that could raise some attention, maybe.
Elizabeth?
It's Carton is Miyagawa's work, and it does actually generate Debian packaging. I wouldn't necessarily say it's of such high quality that you would want to put it straight into the distro, but the intention is that if someone is running their services on Debian, that they could use Carton to make a standard bundle for all the Perl modules that they need, and then when they deploy, they can actually just have that bundle, create Debian packages, and install them. It's kind of like Python wheels. You kind of have to debate whether you really want that to be using that in the distro. It's in some ways a competing way of distributing Perl modules.
Yeah, and for those interested, it's packaged. I think that
yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware that it's packaged.
Yeah,
I'm using the package, but it has its flaws. So I'm wondering if more
anyone
users
wants to look
using
into
it. Yeah.
Right. So I got some scary looks from behind and some signs that we're out of time.
We have lunch after this, so you guys can go on for quite a bit longer, but it's morning at 11:45.
So yeah, well, thank you. Let's call it a buff. Let's meet again next year and before on IRC and in the afternoon. Okay.
Thanks.